saying that loud. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, here are we, Evan. 7 minutes inside of him. On a Tuesday, getting loose, whatever you say, like Busey, getting weird on the podcast. Will I not last like pre-ejaculation? Imagine that in the creation station, also known as a masturbation creation. Fuck are we saying? It ain't even making sense, but when you gotta make sense, when the president don't make sense, and this ain't no political agenda, I'm just spitting facts, but in fact, I stay sharp like a tack. This is stupid. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it all, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. That sounded odd. If you were just listening to the podcast, your boy was not tugging on his willy, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Welcome today to Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are, welcome. I hope you're getting after it. I hope you're feeling good. Things are good. Things are good in my life. Okay, getting after it. All life is about is getting after it. Always on the hunt for that rabbit, ladies and gentlemen. On my Elmer Fudd shit. All right. Every day, a new rabbit is there. You gotta hunt to survive. Okay. What I mean by that, you ever read the book, The War of Art? You might be thinking, Evan, The Art of War. No, The War of Art. It's a genius book about creativity and resistance and getting after your shit and just making it happen. Stupid. Listen, it has this metaphor that I always love, that everything's just a work in progress, that we're not entitled to the results. We're only entitled to the process. So you have to fall in love with that shit, baby. You got to be able to just love the process and know that everything's always a work in progress. And that kind of gets you out of your own way of being a perfectionist. If you have that idea, because that's something that I had to come to realization with, is that I'm not necessarily a perfectionist, because that's a scapegoat. That is just something that people who are creatively inclined use to say, hey, I'm just being a bitch. Is that we say I'm a perfectionist, but we're really just being lazy and afraid. That's like the truth of accepting that perfectionism. I'm just a perfectionist. It's just like, no, you just have anxiety of actually putting your stuff out there on a display for the world to see, because you're results driven, and you have to become process driven. And that's what I mean when I say getting out there after the rabbit every day. Every day you get closer to your goal, and you take actions and you fulfill daily steps and objectives that are pushing you towards where you want to be. That's you grabbing the rabbit, grabbing it by the tail, just swinging that motherfucker over your head, and then putting on a stick and roasting that fucking rabbit for your family. That's what I call getting that rabbit. All right. It's not even a metaphor. I just described an actual action, which was getting the rabbit. I don't know why I'd explain what getting the rabbit meant with that brutal example. But ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be here. Okay. And I hope you guys are getting after that rabbit. It's easy. Life becomes so much easier when you just start focusing on the daily tasks of getting you closer to the rabbit, you know? But we're not going to go into that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not go too far. Let's not go super Gary V at the beginning of this episode. Yeah, sometimes I start getting too weird on the podcast, and I start motivating and hating and belating and rating and hating and Satan. Huh? Stupid, ladies and gentlemen. Big news in the world. Big news. Rihanna is pregnant. Come on, rude boy. Come on, rude boy. Rihanna, the singer, pregnant. And you know what? It's not confirmed that I'm not the father. So until we know for sure, I could still be the father. Okay? Have I ever even been in the same room as Rihanna? But no. You have to dream big. Rihanna has always been one of my favorite musicians, singer, songwriters. Just I've always loved her songs. Disturbia, that was one of my jams. Disturbia. I love that shit. Who's gonna run this town tonight? I am Rihanna, and you're gonna have my baby, metaphorically. But shout out to Rihanna. Listen, sometimes people say, you know, like I think people are way too hyper focused on celebrities' lives. Like when people are obsessed with the Kardashians and they're literally trying to keep up with the Kardashians, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit ever. When you look at fucking the kind of shit that people are into and that they care about. It's the weirdest thing ever, like how involved people get in celebrity lives. But Rihanna being pregnant, I just went, oh, good for Rihanna. Seems like a sweet thing. She's not really clout chasing. She's good at what she does. She stays in her own world. That's what you love to see. Not people who milk their audience for everything. And maybe one day I'll end up in the same room as the Kardashians and have to take back everything I've said when you fucking see me on 7 Minutes in Evan, the E! True Hollywood show, where I'm just like a mixed in spin-off of the Kardashians. And I'm like, I can't believe that like Khloe just like walked by me like that. Oh my God. And then I'm just like out there making buku bucks, but just sold my soul to Kris Jenner. There has to be a price where I go, yeah, I'll be on the fucking Kardashians. And I'll be honest with you, the way my bank account is set up, it's not that much right now. It wouldn't take a lot of money for me to just be on a season of the Kardashians. I would actually enjoy it. I think it would be a lot of fun. I'm completely backtracking. I want to be on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I just want to be part of that silly drama. Just a superficial drama. Why not? How wonderful is life if your drama is like your big worries are just like someone slided you and wore your sweatshirt. Like I just sit there and like talk to like Khloe and I'm just like, yeah, she just fucking, I feel like she doesn't respect my property. And Khloe's just like, yeah. Have you thought about talking to her? I don't know. I don't think she would even listen. Yeah. As you can see, I've never really watched the Kardashians. I don't know exactly what they even talk about, but I know it's not politics. I know it's not real world problems. They're just over here like driving to places. I feel like they drink coffee and are always driving. Am I wrong? Are you going to tell me I'm wrong? That's not what the show is. We just need some better content. It's weird that still exists now. Like it has such a viewership, and maybe it's just like the equivalent of Cops or that show Cheaters, where you're just like, I know it's so stupid, but it speaks to me on the dumbest wavelength. You know, sometimes you got to just like rest your smart wavelengths and you just got to put on some mind numbing humor. That's what I like to do. Sometimes I don't have time, like that show, The Queen or The Crown. And there's like all these super, you know, smart shows out there. I have to be in the right mindset to even watch that. I can't be like worn out and then I'm like, oh great, now I have to think, you know. Sometimes I want slapstick. I want that wacky shit. You know, sometimes I just want to throw on Family Guy and not even have to follow the storyline and just laugh at the whack bonk that is going on in Family Guy. Not to say Family Guy isn't a genius show, but it's just on the surface. You know, I can just laugh at it. Maybe that's what Keeping Up the Kardashians is, and that's giving people the benefit of the doubt, because I feel like there's so many people that are just addicted to it and they want that lifestyle, so they live vicariously through the fantasy. But how much of that is reality? And how much of that is okay because the reality is that life is something that it's not too bad to, like, life is hard and it's not this imagination, but how fucking beautiful ignorance is bliss, right? Where it's like, if you can just escape and you're always yearning and you have something to dream about and to live vicariously through, is that such a terrible thing? I don't know. I wish I could do that. You know? I wish that was me. I wish I could just watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians and get my fucking lips blown out, get my ass just fucking bubbly. I don't know, take a few pictures every now and then, get sponsored by some fit tea, and just live out my fucking life, you know? Just not a care in the world. Just only caring when people take stuff out of my closet. Yeah, she like take my sweater. Yeah. That's all I want. I just want to sell fucking lip gloss with Kylie. Am I wrong for wanting that? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's switch. That's the new transition, all right? I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with this, but there has been, we talked about it before, Joe Rogan versus Neil Young. And other people are jumping on the bandwagon. Joe Rogan has been accused by Neil Young of spreading false information, misinformation about COVID. And it's crazy when you start having people do shit like this. I feel like, for one, if you haven't been involved in this at all and haven't seen it, basically Neil Young is saying because Joe Rogan is on, he wants Joe Rogan deplatformed, which is a bitch move. I love Neil Young's music, huge fan. It's a bitch move to want to deplatform someone because you think they're spreading misinformation. You obviously haven't watched the episodes. You haven't listened to the kind of conversations that go on in the Joe Rogan Experience. And it's dangerous to spread this misinformation that Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation. And basically Neil Young gave an ultimatum to Spotify. They said, you either take Joe Rogan off or you take Neil Young off. Take it or leave it. Those are the only options. And Spotify said, Neil Young, have a good day, sir. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And then there was another musician who backed Neil Young, and she's taken her music off of it as well. But it's the whole idea behind this. It sucks because what is this? What are we doing, Neil Young? Why are you getting involved? Is this a political or a publicity stunt? Because guess who just signed a new deal with Amazon Music, and now you can get 4 months of free if you sign up with Neil Young's fucking promo code. Kind of crazy, right? Has it made Neil Young relevant again? And you might go, Evan, Neil Young is pretty relevant, legend. I know. But Neil Young has been talked about in the past few days more than he's been talked about in years. Let's be real. Okay, Neil. Joe Rogan this morning. Today it's January 31st. Obviously, this is coming to you from the past. He did a apology video on Instagram where he basically took a stance of explaining the whole thing, that he has no hard feelings for Neil Young. He understands how people can feel a certain way. He gives the credentials of the guests that he has had on his podcast and why people might feel like he's spreading misinformation, and handled it beautifully. Listen, I'm on Joe Rogan's nuts just as much as the next person. And I always think it's a cop-out when people just say that, like, Rogan has these crazy bro fans or something like this. You know, he has like a cult following of like bros. But it's really something to commend, and the example that he's setting as the biggest media personality in the world. Make no mistake, Joe Rogan does bigger numbers than any news media platform out there by a lot. He's like, I remember seeing a thing that he has more ratings than all like the top news channels combined, which is probably why he's almost replaced Trump with always being the article to go for. Trump was amazing for the news ratings, which is why he was so polarizing that they used him for so many articles. Anything Trump did, it was made into an article. It was made into a 2-hour piece. Like, they loved it. He was great for ratings. And now they're tanking all this traditional media and everything. You combine that with they lost their fucking unicorn in Trump, plus people just getting tired of the actual misinformation coming from all these news stations, these people that are supposed to be entrusted with giving you the facts. They don't give you news, they give you a narrative. Bars. But what Joe Rogan did is he came out, and I think he's setting a precedent. He is the biggest media outlet, period. And he set a precedent that's amazing because, and I don't know if he did this on purpose or if it was just natural, but he came out and he apologized for people feeling this way and that he was going to do better going forward, and to be held accountable. He's going to get other voices that go against, like to stagger more balanced views on his podcast. He doesn't have to do that. He can go fuck these people. He didn't even have to acknowledge any of this. The news half-life of it would have been gone in 2 weeks. No one would even be talking about it. But he's like, I'm going to address this because I'm going to set a precedent, that I should have balanced people on. And these other news stations and everything, if they want to compete in what is the new form of media, they're going to have to do the same. Not only that, Spotify is putting, when an episode comes out, a disclaimer that there is information about COVID-19 that people need to do their research, and that it could be contrary to popular belief or what's currently acceptable, and labeling it that way, which is, Joe Rogan's fine with it. I mean, that can get out of hand, but we're going to see what's going to happen. As long as they're not censoring and they're not trying to take certain things down, then I don't see a problem with that. But I think that this is what's beautiful, is there's so many people that really feel this way, that there's this weird thing happening where we're like in a moment of change in the country and in the world, and technology is making it happen faster. I feel like news, I feel like media, everything is changing. The next generation coming up, dude, I don't know if really anybody young is watching these Fox News channels. I don't know if anybody, like, how many viewers does CNN have compared to like these big podcasts? And it's because people just want things to be real. They don't want, like, when you see that Pfizer is fucking sponsoring all these news stations. This message brought to you by Pfizer. This message brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. When you start seeing, and I'm not even going to get into the COVID stuff, you start seeing there's so much manipulation. It's seriously all just about clicks. And I feel like people are realizing that. Like, all people want are views. And the news station, they're no different. I really do think we should go back to like not a 24-hour news cycle. Give people the important stuff, curate it, make it quality, and don't do this media entertainment style of news. It's supposed to just educate you. And I don't think it's good for us as like a species if we know all this news from all over the world, that if you wanted to, you could be upset about the world's problems all day, every day. I don't think that's healthy. I think you should only be able to learn news in your area, and to just, obviously you can have world news and national news. I do think that's important to be educated and to understand, but there should be a limit on your psyche, because I remember in the early stages of the pandemic, I had so many people sending me misinformation about COVID. Just the way viruses work, and just the way people, they're ordering a ventilator and you need to do this, and this is happening, and people are going into this, and it's like, no, this is fear mongering. I literally would write people who were writing me that, say, this is fear mongering, stop. And some people would get upset with me, but I wasn't wrong. Not saying that I'm never wrong. But there was a point where I went too far down the rabbit hole and I was reading so much and having people send me fucking grainy information about shit happening in China. And oh my God, there's way more people dying based on this algorithm of all these phone lines that cut out. So they're using those as COVID deaths, and there's so much more people dying than we know. And it's going to be so much worse. The numbers are so much higher. And then you find out that's all bullshit. And it's the same people who are just like, dude, Bitcoin's going to 150,000 this year. Get in or get out. And it's weird FOMO and fear. It's the weirdest shit. So the point I was making, you got to limit how much you're doing that. It just like robs you of your happiness. You know, it robs you of how much you actually control. Because then there's like a level of like, how informed do I need to be? Is there a responsibility for me to take care of every single problem in the world? Or is there a responsibility for me just to be a good person in my world and take care of myself? Because if everybody did that, the world would be a much better place. Everybody wants to fix all these issues and put these like answers that like require these huge movements, but they don't really do anything. And it's ideology. But it literally just comes down to the base. It's like, what is that quote that a society is only as good as its lowest level? It's like if everybody just focused on themselves and took care of themselves with more independence and responsibility, a lot of these problems would just disappear. But it's like we don't do that because we have so much corruption in politics and media and, you know, pharmaceutical companies that it's like these narratives get created and they get manipulated and people's own goodwill gets used against them. That's like what the biggest thing I've realized since 2020 is all those things going on. And there's a point where you're just like, I gotta check out. I can't let you get close. Shout out if you get that reference. But I think it's good. I think we're going in a good direction. As long as we don't get fucking blown up, as long as we don't ruin our society, I think we're good. I think we're going to come out of this much better people, stronger people, more realistic view on life and self-accountability. Because that's all I've kind of wanted out of healthcare is for people to take responsibility and understand that medicine isn't supposed to be a fix-all. It's not supposed to just save you and take all your responsibility away from you. And it seems like people were starting to feel that way with, you know, their own personal life, with protection. People put way too much security and independence into police and to, you know, military and just security in general. That, hey, why do you need guns? That's what we have police for. Oh, then look how quick all the people who were like, gun control, that's why we have police and blah, blah. Look how quick they were like, defund the police. Then me taking care of myself and protecting myself and making sure that I'm responsible like that eliminates the fear that you guys, the regular people, can defund the police and then we lose protection, you know? If I can get myself strong enough to be able to deal with viruses and put myself in the best position to deal with illness, I don't have to be as scared of these issues, you know? It's a wild thing, but I think we're going in a good place. And you know what I just hope? I just hope I'm around long enough to be able to go in a spaceship up to space and like look at the world. I would love to do that. Space travel, I'm fucking in. All right? I was watching Boba Fett last night. If you haven't seen it, give it a chance. If you love The Mandalorian, give Boba Fett a chance. It's not getting the same love and respect that The Mandalorian did. But it's a great fucking show. Great. The Mandalorian, it's unfair. It had Baby Yoda. Okay? AKA Grogu. But Boba Fett, there's one scene where it's like they go into space and they're on like a shuttle. And it's just literally a shuttle, like a city bus. And they're like just, you know, taking a bus to another solar system. And I'm just like, I want that so bad. I just want to travel and see the entire world. How amazing would that be? How out of the ordinary would that be to get up in space and just be like, I I don't know if it's going to sound like that, but I just want to see it. I want to see the earth. If there was, this is the thing, but if there was universe, like, space travel and like basically Star Trek, where it's like we're traveling to unknown parts of of space, and our job is just to find new life and explore the universes, the cosmos, everything. Like if that was a job now, you best believe your boy wouldn't be doing stand-up. I'm in a different galaxy, baby. Okay? I would 100% sign up for that. If there was aliens and it was like, yeah, do you want to be part of our Galaxy Explorers program, where I get in a ship with a bunch of other people and we just explore the galaxies? 100% your boy's doing that. All right? And you know what job I want? You might be like, well, are you going to be, like a biologist? Are you going to be a herbologist? Are you going to be animal, blah, 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 veterinarian? Are you going to be the doctor on the ship? I'm going to be the sexologist. Okay? And it's going to be my job to make love with any creatures that we find. All right? And no job too bad and no job too good. All right? They would have to happen. Someone's going to have to explore that realm of these other creatures. And you know what? I'll take that one for the team. Don't judge me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has to do it. And I'd be willing to do that in reporting back. I'd be like, well, I'm not even going to go with that. Stupid, ladies and gentlemen. Stupid. There's a story that came out. I don't know how true this is, but a Michigan high school refuses to install litter boxes for students who identify as cats at the school. The furry community has gone too far, ladies and gentlemen. I love that we're hitting a point where people are starting to go, hey, no. How wild would it be to be at a PTA meeting and you have a family of cats? They're dressed up and they're just like, yeah, I have a bone to pick. And they're just fucking cleaning themselves, purring silently. Where do you expect fucking Tabitha to take a shit? And they're like, the toilet. And they're like, nah, cats don't have thumbs. They're like, yeah, but your human daughter who pretends she's a cat actually does in fact have those. Nope. The world is a crazy place, but you know what? I'm here for it, ladies and gentlemen. I remember hearing about a furry convention where they got in trouble because they brought litter boxes to the hotels and they were just shitting in litter boxes in the hotel bathrooms. And the help came in to do the normal stuff they do at hotels when you're like out of there. Could you imagine walking into a bathroom that had a litter box full of human shit? You would walk in and think you're in the goddamn Hangover movie. And you'd be like, oh, is there a tiger that took a shit in here? Because that does not come out of a cat. God, imagine the moment you're the person cleaning the room and you just go, like housekeeping is in there. And then you just go, wait, that's a huge piece of shit. We're hosting a furry convention. Holy shit. And then you see like fucking cat heads and shit like that people put on their heads just all over the place on the shelves and stuff. Imagine that. Dude, furries. That's a wild world. I would love to have a furry on the podcast. Just to talk. I just want to know the world. Okay? I feel like my video keeps going out of focus. Disregard that last sentence, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to have a furry on the podcast, God damn it. We're going to do it. We're going to reach out. We're going to find a furry. that is willing to be on the podcast, and we want to break it down. And I'm going to do it respectfully. And I just want to know more about the world. Because who knows? I support people. Maybe I'll end up going to a furry convention. Why not? But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Okay, I hope you got something from it. Hope you go out and just rock it in the free world. Okay? Just listen to some Neil Young music because, hey, support Neil Young. He's a good old man. He's got some bangers. Okay? And just take care of yourselves. Love each other. Love yourself more importantly, because that's where it all begins and that's where it all ends. All right, brothers and sisters? And my furry friends? It all starts with you and all ends with you. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of the world. Remember that. And sometimes I think the world focuses too much on helping other people because it's easier than helping ourselves. I'm going to say that again so you really understand it. Sometimes we focus on helping other people before we help ourselves because it's easier. And I know I didn't say the same exact thing again, but you get what I mean. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.